Hello, future engineers and scientists. Welcome to an exciting journey into the heart of chemical reactions. Today, we are diving into a fundamental concept in chemistry, equilibrium, specifically, dynamic equilibrium. This topic is crucial for your GMAIN preparation and understanding how chemical systems truly behave. We'll explore this concept across 4 levels: easy, medium, hard, and hardest, building your knowledge step by step. Get ready to uncover the hidden movements behind seemingly stable reactions. Let's start with the basics. What does it mean for a system to be in equilibrium? And why do we call it dynamic? Imagine a chemical reaction where reactants turn into products, and products can turn back into reactants. This is a reversible reaction. Chemical equilibrium is reached when the speed at which reactants form products, called the forward reaction rate, becomes exactly equal to the speed at which products form reactants, which is the reverse reaction rate. At this precise moment, the amounts, or concentrations, of all the substances in the reaction stop changing. They become constant, giving the appearance that the reaction has stopped. But, as we'll see, it's far from static. Now, let's clarify the difference between static and dynamic equilibrium. Static equilibrium is like a perfectly balanced seesaw that isn't moving at all, and there's no activity. But chemical equilibrium is dynamic. Think of a busy airport escalator where people are going up and down simultaneously. If the number of people going up equals the number going down, the total number of people on each floor remains constant, but there's constant movement. Similarly, in dynamic equilibrium, molecules are continuously reacting in both directions, forming and breaking bonds, but because the rates are equal, the net change is zero. This continuous microscopic activity, despite constant macroscopic properties, is a hallmark of dynamic equilibrium in chemical systems. It requires a closed system to ensure no matter escapes or enters, keeping the total mass constant. Time to test your understanding. Here are 3 easy practice questions. Take a moment to think about them. Question 1 asks about the type of reaction needed for equilibrium. Question 2 probes your understanding of reaction rates at equilibrium. And question 3 challenges you to identify an observable property that remains constant. Good luck! Ready to go a bit deeper? Let's unravel more about how dynamic equilibrium truly works at a molecular level and the conditions that govern it. So, how is equilibrium actually reached? Consider a reversible reaction. Initially, you only have reactants, so the forward reaction starts at its fastest rate. As products begin to form, their concentration increases, which then allows the reverse reaction to start and gradually speed up. At the same time, as reactants are consumed, the forward reaction slows down. This continues until the rate of the forward reaction perfectly matches the rate of the reverse reaction. It's a kinetic balancing act, where the system naturally adjusts itself until these opposing rates become equal. Let's emphasize the difference between macroscopic steadiness and microscopic activity. Macroscopically, meaning what we can observe with our senses or instruments, a system at equilibrium appears unchanging. Concentrations, pressure, color, all seem constant. But microscopically, at the level of individual molecules, the reaction is still furiously active. Molecules are constantly colliding, breaking bonds, and forming new ones in both directions. It's like a perfectly choreographed dance where dancers are always moving, but the overall pattern on the stage remains the same. This continuous, balanced molecular dance is what makes chemical equilibrium truly dynamic. For dynamic equilibrium to be established and maintained, specific conditions are essential. First, the reaction must be reversible, allowing products to revert to reactants. Second, it must occur in a closed system, preventing any matter from entering or leaving, which ensures that changes in concentration are solely due to the reaction itself. Third, the temperature must remain constant. Temperature directly affects reaction rates, so any fluctuation would disturb the balance. Finally, at equilibrium, all species involved in the reaction are typically present, even if some are in very small amounts, enabling both forward and reverse processes to occur. Now, let's put your medium-level knowledge to the test. Here are 5 questions. Question 1 asks about the necessity of a closed system. Question 2 wants you to describe rate changes. Question 3 focuses on the microscopic state. Question 4 asks about interpreting a concentration graph. And question 5 involves the temperature change. Take your time, think critically, and apply what you've learned. You've got this. Excellent. You've grasped the core concepts. Now, let's elevate our understanding to a hard level, exploring more advanced aspects and theoretical connections. One fascinating aspect of dynamic equilibrium is that it can be reached from either direction. Whether you start with pure reactants, pure products, or any mixture, the system will always adjust itself to arrive at the same final equilibrium state, provided the temperature and pressure are kept constant. This highlights the inherent stability of the equilibrium state. It's a unique point for a given set of conditions, irrespective of the initial pathway taken. Think of it like a ball rolling to the bottom of a valley. No matter where you drop it on the hillside, it will always settle at the lowest point. Next, let's talk about the role of catalysts. Catalysts are substances that speed up reactions without being consumed. In a reversible reaction, a catalyst accelerates both the forward and reverse reactions equally star. This means it helps the system reach equilibrium much faster. However, critically, a catalyst does not change the position of equilibrium itself, nor does it alter the value of the equilibrium constant. It simply helps the reaction achieve that balanced state more quickly, acting as a shortcut rather than changing the destination. Now, for a crucial concept, the equilibrium constant, K. This numerical value quantifies the relative amounts of products and reactants present at equilibrium, giving us a measure of how far a reaction proceeds. Whether K for concentrations or P for partial pressures, its value tells us if products or reactants are favored. A large K means products are favored, while a small k means reactants dominate. This constant is also profoundly linked to thermodynamics, specifically the Gibbs free energy change, where delta G degree equals RT ln K. This equation reveals the thermodynamic driving force behind the equilibrium position, connecting the spontaneity of a reaction to its equilibrium extent. Furthermore, we briefly touched upon Le Chatelier's principle, which explains how systems at equilibrium respond to stresses like changes in concentration, pressure, or temperature, shifting to alleviate the stress and re-establish a new dynamic balance. Alright, it's time for the hard-level practice questions. There are 7 questions here, designed to challenge your analytical skills. You'll encounter questions about the effect of catalysts, the significance of the equilibrium constant, and how equilibrium can be attained. Remember to apply the principles we've discussed. Take your time, think deeply, and articulate your answers clearly. You're doing great. You've mastered the hard concepts. Now, let's push the boundaries even further into the hardest level. We'll explore the intricate microscopic details, engineering applications, and advanced theoretical frameworks of dynamic equilibrium, preparing you for competitive exams like GMAT. At the microscopic level, dynamic equilibrium is best understood through collision theory. For a reaction to occur, molecules must collide with sufficient energy, known as the activation energy, and with the correct orientation. At equilibrium, the number of effective collisions leading to the forward reaction per unit time is precisely equal to the number of effective collisions leading to the reverse reaction. This balance of successful molecular encounters, constantly occurring, defines the dynamic nature. The activation energies for the forward and reverse reactions are interconnected, with their difference being the reaction's enthalpy change. This constant molecular dance across the energy barrier, at equal frequencies in both directions, maintains the macroscopic stability. Dynamic equilibrium sits at the fascinating intersection of thermodynamics and kinetics. Kinetics dictates how fast equilibrium is reached, focusing on reaction rates, activation energy, and mechanisms. Thermodynamics, on the other hand, determines where equilibrium lies, the relative amounts of reactants and products at that point, governed by the Gibbs free energy change, which is zero at equilibrium. A reaction might be thermodynamically very favorable, meaning it wants to produce a lot of products, but kinetically very slow, taking ages to reach equilibrium. Conversely, a fast reaction might yield very little product at equilibrium if it's thermodynamically unfavorable. Chemical engineers leverage this understanding in industrial processes like the Haber-Bosch synthesis of ammonia. By applying high pressure and carefully controlling temperature, they shift the equilibrium towards products, while a catalyst ensures the equilibrium is reached efficiently, maximizing yield in a cost-effective manner. Equilibria can be broadly classified into homogeneous and heterogeneous. In homogeneous equilibrium all reactants and products exist in the same phase, like all gases or all dissolved in a single liquid solution. Here, all species are included in the equilibrium constant expression. Heterogeneous equilibrium however, involves species in different phases, such as solids reacting with gases. A crucial point for heterogeneous equilibria is that the concentrations of pure solids and pure liquids are considered constant and are therefore omitted from the equilibrium constant expression, as their activities are taken as unity. This simplification is vital for correctly calculating K values in such systems. For example, in the decomposition of calcium carbonate, only the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is included in Kp because calcium carbonate and calcium oxide are pure solids. Beyond individual reactions, dynamic equilibrium principles extend to multiple equilibria and the reaction quotient Q star. In systems with multiple, sequential equilibria, the overall equilibrium constant is the product of the individual steps constants. This concept is fundamental to understanding complex processes like biochemical pathways or acid-base titrations. The reaction quotient, Q is a powerful tool. It's calculated just like K, but uses non-equilibrium concentrations. By comparing Q to K, we can predict the direction a reaction will shift to reach equilibrium. If Q is less than K, the reaction proceeds forward. If Q is greater than K, it proceeds backward, and if Q equals K, the system is already at equilibrium. This predictive power allows chemists and engineers to manipulate conditions, ensuring optimal product formation in industrial settings, making dynamic equilibrium not just a theoretical concept, but a cornerstone of chemical engineering and process optimization. All right, brilliant minds, prepare for the ultimate challenge. Here are the first 5 of your hardest level practice questions. These will test your deep understanding of collision theory, the interplay of thermodynamics and kinetics, heterogeneous equilibria, and industrial applications. Question 1 involves predicting shifts with pressure changes. Question 2 asks for a collision theory explanation. Question 3 focuses on K_SP. Question 4 challenges you on industrial optimization. And question 5 probes the distinction between kinetics and thermodynamics. Give these your best shot. And now, for the remaining 5 hardest questions. These will further push your analytical and problem-solving skills, covering activation energies, reaction quotients, the role of catalysts, multiple equilibria, and the fundamental nature of the dynamic state. Question 6 is a calculation problem. Question 7 involves Q versus K. Question 8 asks about catalyst effects. Question 9 is about multiple equilibria. And question 10 delves into the steady state concept. Remember, these questions are designed to simulate G-main level difficulty. Work through them diligently. You're almost there. Congratulations on completing this in-depth exploration of dynamic equilibrium. You've navigated through easy, medium, hard, and hardest levels, gaining a comprehensive understanding of this vital chemistry topic. This knowledge is a strong foundation for your G-main preparation and future scientific endeavors. To continue your learning journey and access more high-quality educational content, practice questions, and detailed solutions, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more engaging and informative lessons. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep aiming for excellence. See you in the next session.